Welcome back to Morning at NTV. Now, conversation at exactly 30 minutes past 8 a.m. is in line with one of the sectors that has been hit hard by COVID-19 pandemic 5 months down the road within the country. We take a look at how the private sector is faring on, and we are joined by Mrs. Ruth Kamusoke, who's the head of skills development at the Skills Development Facility at the Private Sector Foundation in Uganda. Good morning and welcome to Morning at NTV, Ruth.
Good morning, our NTV viewers. It's good to be with you again this morning.
Okay. Now, Ruth, we'll start off with where the private sector stands 5 months down the road. Right now, within the country, we're seeing an upsurge in the cases, but where does this leave the private sector?
It's very unfortunate that we see a rise in the number of cases. And I think what we need to do at the moment is for people to know that we need to be very cautious. We need to be cautious to ensure as businesses, as we do our businesses, we need to be very careful. We need to make sure that we observe the SOPs to ensure that even as we do our business, as we conduct our work in the various workplaces, we are able to prevent the contraction of COVID-19. And I think there has been a lot of relaxation, but also we have to understand that the economy has to go on. Despite the fact that we have COVID, business has to go on because people need to live, people need to earn a salary, people need to earn an income, but it cannot be at the expense of death. And I think this is a time whereby we are saying, okay, within all the sectors that have been affected, tourism has been affected a lot. But how are we able to revive tourism?
That's a conversation we are having with Mrs. Ruth Kamusoke. She's the head of Skills Development Facility at the Private Sector Foundation in Uganda. We seem to be having an issue with the internet connection there, but we're going to be getting her there. But what she has mentioned at this point in time is that life is more important. Even though there's business to conduct, we need to continue to adhere to the standard operating procedures before anything. Now, we're going to continue to try to get to her, but for now, we're going to...
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Well, Morning at NTV does continue, and now we're going back to that conversation with Mrs. Ruth Kamusoke, who is the head of Skills Development Facility at the Private Sector Foundation in Uganda. We're taking a look at how the private sector is dealing during these times. And she had just joined us earlier. We lost the connection for a bit, but the conversation had been taken to the fact that we're looking at some of the hardest hit sectors. Well, Ruth, welcome back to Morning at NTV. Welcome back to Morning at NTV.
Yes, thank you very much, and I'm happy to be there.
Yes.
I was still saying that when you look at the tourism sector and hospitality, it's quite big. I want to give people an example that when you talk about tourism, we have the people that come in and visit the country, but also we have Ugandans that use the facilities that we have. When you have any tourists, whether local or international, you realize that they are going to use an hotel. If, for example, today you go and visit Serena Hotel, Sky Blue Hotel, or any hotel in Uganda, Hotel Africana, or you go to the park, if you go there, you demand food. When you eat food, this money you pay for food, and the food you're eating is grown by a local person. I can give you an example. If Hotel Africana does not work for one day, thousands and thousands of Ugandans who supply eggs, who supply chicken, who supply bananas, who supply vegetables, are not earning an income. And that is the reason why you saw that even the prices of food went down, because these facilities were not working. We want to see a situation whereby we can be able to live within the normal. We can be able to promote local effective tourism, whereby we can have Ugandans who say, okay, let me go and be in a safe environment, which is not clouded for my holiday. We are no longer going to Dubai. This is the time for us to think about what is within that we are able to see. This is the time for Ugandans to appreciate what beauty do we have in this particular country. What can we be able to do? If all hotels are not fully booked, what can we be able to do? If we are not getting people coming from Europe, from Asia, from China to use our national parks, what else can we be able to do? It is a very good time to have this particular conversation, to think about innovative ways of reviving our industry, but also for people to realize that the tourism industry has been growing very fast. Its contribution to GDP has actually grown more than other sectors over time. And we need to look at it seriously. We need to give it focus. We need to make our children appreciate that Uganda is a beautiful country, that we need to visit ourselves. We need to use it. We need to use all these facilities. When you support tourism, you're not only supporting one person, you're supporting the transporters. I can tell you, when we closed the airport, those guys who are working at the airport, the taxis, I don't know now how they are surviving. We had tour guides who are making our visitors moving around. How are they surviving? You get it? We had people, I know, and I chair a hotel in this country, and I know that we have cut almost 40% of our workers. They are not working. I know that slowly but surely the industry is reviving, but we need to have this conversation of what programs need to be put aside by the government and other partners to revive this industry.
Well, when you talk about reviving in particular the tourism sector, this industry, the conversation 5 months down the road, what things have changed when it comes to tourism on that end? When you say bring in local tourism, more local tourists, just us as Ugandans, are there perhaps, are we seeing the hotels changing in a few ways, changing what they're doing and how they are doing it? How are they trying to attract the day-to-day Ugandan who used to leave the country for a holiday, but also keeping in mind that people don't have so much money to spend at this point in time. So everyone is trying to save their money and saying, but why should I leave my home? So what conversations are being had now?
The conversation we have right now, we are looking at people who had lodges in game parks. We are looking at people that had very big hotels that are not working. And I think for me, if we had a facility, we run a hotel, and this is the time for us to support. This is the best time any hotel can be able to renovate, train its workers, to ensure that once the situation is ready, you're able to move. This is the time whereby we are able to remind people of the beauty we have. I can tell you, if you're going to you're going to do a holiday, even if you're Ugandan, you don't plan it in one day. You hear about it, you see the beauty that you have, and you take your time. So in this particular time, you're able to appreciate and say, I don't have to go to Dubai. I don't have to go to the US. Or there is this particular facility I have that is actually very, very affordable. I can tell you, millions of Ugandans have been spending a lot of money going to holidays. This is the time to love our country, to appreciate and know there's so many beautiful birds that we have. There's so many beautiful animals that we have. This is the only place in the world where you have the largest number of gorillas, the largest number of bird species, but a number of people do not have an idea, no idea at all. And we have people that should be able to appreciate this and be able to say, okay, the next month, because we are going to live in this situation for a long time. It's not going to end. As you see, the numbers are going up, but life has to live. We have to live normally. We have to live normally. This is the time to remind the hotels that we have that are running that yes, we can go on with the businesses, but how do we ensure that we can do these businesses and ensure that our clients are safe? If you go to these hotels, Sheraton, Sky Blue Hotel, if you go to the lodges, they are actually open. They are getting visitors now. We want to remind Ugandans that these facilities are open, but they are safe. They are not crowded. The measures are in place to ensure that when you go there, you are safe. You can go in these places and you're safe, conduct your business, and come back.
You mentioned safety. Ruth, you mentioned safety, and when we take it to safety, yes, the hotel owner, the lodge owner, can make sure that all these measures are in place, but having someone come in and actually go ahead and follow through with what is being asked of them, because what is also being seen is that Ugandans are not adhering to the measures. For most Ugandans, up until this week, it had been, no, it's far removed from us. It's not something that affects us. So how do you continue to have a business, one, running without turning away the client, but also insisting that they go ahead and actually adhere to all the measures put in place?
I have already said that we need to change the strategy. I was very clear. I normally do your program on KFM. Our communication strategy to the public, it needs to change. And I think we need to take a stand. If we are running a business, if somebody does not have a mask, they should not enter. We should put that as a criteria. Have a mask, enter. If you go to a place
Well, we seem to have lost Mrs. Ruth Beans Kamusoke there. Another issue with the tech.
And we realize they don't have a temperature. So if we are able to add air to that, it works. I was just saying that we need to make sure that we take a precaution and say, if you're not putting on a mask, don't enter my business. I will not transact with you if you don't have a mask. If I'm a customer, I'll say I will not transact with you if you don't have a temperature gun and if you don't have hand sanitizers and if you've not put your place in a situation whereby there's social distancing. So for me, I think the element of discipline is what is extremely very, very important. Okay. And that is what must be done because there has not been discipline. There has been a lot of laxity. And I think it is on all of us. We need to change the way we communicate. And I think this comes so well in this time when we're organizing the e-tourism conference, to make sure that we are able to alert the public because tourism areas, hospitality areas are areas that are normally they are normally visited by so many people. And I think we need to really, really talk to our constituency in these particular sectors, but also show some of the examples of some of these hotels that have opened and they are adhering to the SOPs. Because this is very important, actually.
Well, another thing, we've mentioned the business owner, we've mentioned the client, but let's bring in the government because earlier you mentioned having conversations with the government. At this point in time, going forward, we do expect the president to address us soon during this week as a country, but also what conversations do you hope with the government? Because five months down the road, and as you have mentioned, this is quite an uncertain time. We don't know when it could change and go back to the normal, or this is going to be the new normal for a while to come. So what conversations are you having with government, or what do you hope the government will consider when it comes to the tourism sector and hospitality?
We want the government to think about a package for hotel owners. The same way they have thought about a package for teachers, there must be a package for hotel owners, and it must be categorized into workers of hotels. The number of workers in hotels that have been laid off. Why? Because the business has been low. Who is looking after these people? As we are setting aside money for microfinance, there should be money for startup, for reviving. There should be money specifically for staff who have been working in hotels that have been laid off. Secondly, there should also be money for people in the hotel industry that have been badly hit. There are people who are in the sectors that completely closed. These ones also need some kind of support to ensure that they stay afloat. This is the time, as I said, for any hotel, if you have the money, you have a soft loan whereby you're able to renovate, you're able to do your things differently, restructure, change your things, change your operations to ensure that you prepare for the future. This is also the right time, but unfortunately, there is not affordable money on the market for the tourism industry. And what is there in UDB is not enough unless they are able to say this money has been allocated for the tourism industry and it can be accessed. We are glad that already the European Union is engaging the government of Uganda to provide facilities for the tourism industry to ensure that it's able to be revived. The government should also be able to think about continuously reminding, it is the time to remind the world that Uganda is there. It is there, it is safe, and it is waiting for you after COVID. We should not just relax and keep quiet. Other countries are not keeping quiet. They are promoting local industry, local tourism, internal tourism. They are reminding the world that they are still there, because I can tell you, when people are planning for holiday, they plan, it takes them 1 year to plan for it. Meaning, if you tell them now and show the beauty, it will be a little bit less costly to advertise now internationally. And it is the time when people are home, they see. So the next time they're making a decision next year, they're able to use this.
Okay. Lastly, as I let you go, what do you think the new face, or because we are in the new normal, what do you think the new face of tourism, leisure and hospitality will now take on in our country?
The new normal in tourism is going to be a situation whereby now any visitor, anybody going to a hotel, anybody going to a game park, anybody that is going to go for any tourism activity is going to take safety first. Meaning, as the people in the industry, we need to take safety precautions first. When people are making a decision which country I am going to go to, they are going to look at a country that is adhering to SOPs. And that is extremely very important for the industry. It is extremely very important for the government to ensure that the entire population is appreciating that we need to stay safe. People should not relax. We should not relax. The hotel owners shouldn't relax. The tour agents should not relax. We need to ensure that we train our workers to be able to prepare themselves for safety within COVID, because COVID is here to stay for some time, but we need to live the new normal. We need to prepare even the life after the lockdown.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mrs. Ruth Biinzi Kamusoke. She is the head of Skills Development Facility at the Private Sector Foundation in Uganda, and she's also a business owner in the tourism and leisure and hospitality bit of the country. But that was our conversation there. Now we're crossing over to Stephen Mbide, who is in